Welcome to Rotten Taste, where we take a look at movies under 50% and tell you what we think of them. And today, for the Halloween season, we are looking at the 1993 movie Leprechaun, starring Jennifer Aniston before she was in Friends. And this movie has a 27% score on Rotten Tomatoes. I remember.
Is that what it is? It's
Yes,
27?
27.
Oh God, makes so much sense now.
I remember seeing this movie a lot around, I think, 15, 16 on HBO.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those movies that was on HBO a lot. I was not personally into a lot of horror movies. I did see a lot of the classics, from
Yeah.
Exorcist, and I say classics, but Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th.
hmm
But I didn't really
Yeah.
see a lot of the cheesy, bad horror movies that we got into in our blockbuster days. To me, from what I can remember, this is the first cheesy horror movie that I ever saw in my life. And oh my God, rewatching this, it is so bad, but you just can't help but laugh at it.
Oh my God.
It reminds me a bit of Child's Play, that kind of that formula. Like, yes, there's a ruthless little killer, but at the same time, you have to laugh throughout the movie. Um, what was your first thoughts on Leprechaun watching this literally about an hour ago?
Yeah. So, I've also seen this movie a lot. I feel like I saw it a lot when I was younger, and it's amazing because I don't remember a single fucking thing about it. So when I watched it, I was just like, wait, what? It all seemed vaguely familiar, but I just did not remember it. But to go back onto your Child's Play thing, Child's Play was way scarier. And it took itself seriously, and I was like really, really terrified of Child's Play, like, cause they had what, My Buddy, if you remember that, like the
Yes.
little like doll that like, so that was like my biggest fear. But as far as cheesy horror movies goes, it's really surprising because the one that I remember the earliest that I saw was like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is not under 50% for some reason.
Yeah, no, it's not. So yeah, we can't touch that one.
Well, could never
Uh,
touch that one, but that I thought that was like my first one. But this one, it could have taken itself serious. There was definitely enough violence, although some of it was really like dumb, like the pogo stick one.
oh,
Um, like that was just like okay, it took me out a little bit. But like the sped up like Benny Hill like frames, like in
all
the
the
part to make
chasing.
him look like he's going faster, like that. I mean, I laughed out loud every time I saw that because I was like, this is so ridiculous.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the movie starts out basically an old man finds the leprechaun, and I
After
don't.
drinking a bottle of Jameson, by the way, can we address how like that? I saw that and immediately was like, "Oh my God, no! A whole entire bottle of Jameson."
And yeah, he comes home with his wife. Basically they're now. He's saying, we're gonna move on up. Basically, he found the leprechaun, and he says, when you catch a leprechaun, you got to make them show you where the gold is. That's the rule. Now, I
What?
don't know the rules of a leprechaun, let alone a horror leprechaun, but
Yeah, right.
that seems like a far fetch. But anyhow, obviously the leprechaun starts going on a killing spree. He wants his gold
hmm
back. The old man traps him in a box for him to be released later. So that's kind of the quick premise that they give you. They say
Yeah.
10 years ago. But before, in that intro and throughout the movie, one of the weird things is Leprechaun's pretty spot on its voices. Like it's mimicking like a little girl throughout the movie. It mimics like another,
Yeah.
the dad, the cop. Like he perfect.
A
Just a
cat
trigger
too,
one. I'm like
right?
the cat, everything. Like you're
Yeah.
just thinking like, wow, where did this leprechaun get this skill? But yeah, he just perfectly does movie voices.
Yeah.
Um, and four-leaf clovers, that's how he traps it. He puts a four-leaf clover on the box. Again, I didn't realize that was a weakness of leprechauns. I thought they always had
No.
four-leaf clovers, but I guess that's just canon for the series. Which, by the way, I
Sure.
said series. Do you
Canon.
know there's 8 movies in this? We're not probably going to touch another one of these, though. I do want to see,
Oh,
like, In the
sweet
Hood or Back to
God.
the Hood. But
What does
anyhow,
number 8 look like? Like, what does number 7 look like? Is Warwick
all right.
Davis still doing these?
No, so Warwick Davis did the first 6. The seventh
Oh my
one was
God, he had
an
to tap
orange.
out.
The seventh one was an origin story, which starred Hornswoggle from the WWE, and the
Oh my
eighth one was
God.
called Leprechaun Returns, which was a direct sequel to this one. Warwick Davis opted out, and it took place. It starred Jennifer Aniston's daughter. So like it was like a direct sequel to the first one, making everything else not canon, basically, from my understanding. I had not seen it, so I'm not sure. I wanted to just know how many films there were, and that got released like within the last couple of years. But
Oh
yes,
God! So they tried to do like a reset of like they tried to like retcon it and everything, like Halloween 2.0
yes,
or whatever it is.
exactly. But yeah, so
Oh
Jennifer
my
Aniston's in this
God!
before starring as Rachel Green. She was definitely young in this. Like New Mexico, North Dakota. What's the difference? A whole
Yeah.
fucking country difference. But anyway, she's staying with her dad, and
Yeah.
yeah,
For
basically.
reasons.
And then there's three painters that just happen to just basically get all the characters there, and then
Three guys that
accidentally,
paint. Yeah.
yeah, three guys that paint, and accidentally that Clover gets knocked out off the box, and he's able to escape the box
By
um,
Ozzy. I think
by
Ozzy, right?
Ozzy, because
Yep.
he heard a little girl's voice. Right after he escapes is basically when all the weird shit starts happening. First of all, the
Yeah.
fakest rainbow ever in movie history.
Oh, that was awesome. That was fucking fan. As soon as it came out, I was like, I'm invested in this. This is great.
But
All
yeah,
the
so,
budget went towards that rainbow.
and the one explosion. Don't forget the explosion at the end of the movie. You're like, what?
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, that must have cost half the budget. Jesus, I wasn't expecting an explosion that big. It took me by surprise.
Oh, but you mentioned Ozzy. So two of the three characters,
Yeah.
Ozzy and the little boy, I think his name is Andy. I forget. They find the bag of gold. They're hiding it. They want to keep it. Ozzy somehow swallows a gold coin real easily. I mean, I've never attempted to even swallow like a penny or a quarter or anything, but he's just like, oh, this is how you can tell if it's fake if you bite it, and ends up swallowing it. I'm like, there's something really wrong here. Like that just does not happen. But
I
yes,
just
so the so the
that part.
leprechaun wants his gold back. He's coming back. He he attacks the dad without them knowing
Yeah.
it's a leprechaun. The dad's at the hospital. Then he's just gone for the rest of the movie.
Well,
Like,
okay, why would he stick his hand in a hole like that? Like,
if you
I
thought it
would
was,
never do that.
no, not if you thought there was an animal and then he gets bit and you're just like, you're an idiot because
His whole arm into that dark hole. I would never do such. Even if it was a cat, I'd be like, I'm not sticking my hand in there. I can't see in that shit. I don't know what's in there.
it was just to get the dad out of the movie and that was about it because there's no mention again of the dad. He's just done.
No,
They took him to the
I
hospital.
think he died. That's my headcanon, is that he just died. He died of
He died from
leprechaun
the
rabies.
rabies. Oh my god.
That's in my head. That's what happened. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's a pretty good way to like end that like story. So
I don't think that's canon, but okay, we'll go with it. But yeah, so the leprechaun wants to get all his powers back. He needs his gold for his powers. He can somehow teleport.
yeah.
So
he's a leprechaun.
he is a leprechaun, and he's chasing a truck on a tricycle. And now you mentioned like the sped up footage, and I'm just thinking,
Yep.
he's keeping up with a truck while riding a tricycle. And this happens throughout because then he finds the yellow toy truck, and then you just, oh my god, I don't even know.
Does it turn into like a bulldozer too or some shit? Like it knocks over a full truck, and I was very surprised.
All right, so the third, because he found the yellow truck at the police station, and that's how he comes back. And then when he's attacking everyone, I call it the Mad Max. He found a Mad Max style mini-mobiles, and then he just tips over, not just tips, flips it over because it goes like full circle, a life-size truck, and I'm just like,
and no one died.
No one died, and they got out. Remember, because
they got out with no bruises.
Yeah,
they're all of a sudden in the bushes. You know what I mean? And if we could just double back on Ozzy, because there's a part that just absolutely like I once it happened, I couldn't stop laughing, and it made me almost like start crying. But like when she like catches like, was it Alex with like the bag of gold or some shit, and she's like, "Oh, why'd you hide this from us?" It's like, "Oh, we're trying to raise money to fix Ozzy's brain." And then she's like, "Oh, honey, you can't fix Ozzy's brain."
Yeah, so that's why the little kid, they were trying to save it. Well, initially they were saving it to get him make him smarter, give him a brain operation, and then he's like, "Yeah, I know, but if Ozzy doesn't know," it was a different kind of dynamic between Ozzy and the little kid and stuff like that. And the kids try and find out, what the history of the coin is, and gives it to a pawn shop. Leprechaun magically appears in the safe. Again, teleportation powers, I guess, is a thing in Leprechaun world. I don't know.
He's a leprechaun. Yeah.
And then, he has a thing for flesh. He basically bites the knee off the pawn shop owner. And then, as he says, out of everything he could have done to this guy, he grabs a pogo stick and just starts bouncing all over him. I'm laughing. I'm like, okay, this is when you know. I mean, you don't take this movie serious to begin with, but any movie
Yeah.
that has a pogo stick kill, I'm sorry, you're like, yeah, I see why this is under 50%. Hell, I don't even think this should be 27%. But I laughed. I'm
No,
like, oh my
it's
god, this is
worse.
the funnest kill I think I've seen in a long time. It's so
No,
stupid and
it was
so
so funny.
fun that you just
Mhm.
can't help but laugh at it. But yeah, he's just bouncing up and down. And then
Yep.
after he kills the guy, what does he do? Shines the guy's shoes. Like throughout
Yeah.
this movie, this is an ongoing story. This leprechaun all of a sudden has to shine everyone's shoes. It's a
Yeah.
distraction for them to get away one time because they're always getting away.
They threw
They throw
boxes of
all the
shoes.
shoes everywhere in the
Yeah.
driveway, and he's freaking out because he has to shine each and every one of them. And I'm like, again, I don't follow leprechaun lore, but I'm like, is that a thing? Does he just go around shining people's shoes? You know, especially after he kills them. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either. I have no idea where that lore comes from. I think they referenced him being a shoemaker, but I don't remember being too much backstory. So I just was like, okay, cool. It's a plot device for them to, I guess, buy time for Jennifer Aniston to get to the hospital to see, Mr. O'Grady, who I thought had died at the beginning.
Yeah, they didn't fully explain what happened to him, but yeah. So, but here, all right. So you mentioned Jennifer Aniston, the whole plan to get her away because they're trying to find
Mhm.
out how to kill this leprechaun because they have no
Yes.
idea. You know, shotgun, point blank isn't doing nothing's doing anything. So they get her away. Now, she's in the truck. She goes to see Old Man Grady, but she's out and away. You don't think she could make a pit stop to the police station that they've been trying to contact all movie and failing
Oh,
and be like, hey, by the
yeah.
way, we're in
I didn't
trouble.
think about
Bring
that.
back like the cavalry. No, she just
Yeah.
goes to see Old Man Grady, and the leprechaun shows up. I don't know how the leprechaun knew she was going to be there because he was too busy
Yeah.
shining fucking shoes, and then obviously
Right.
chases her away, and then she finds out the four-leaf clover. That's how you kill him. And again, she's like, okay, and but yeah, she drives back like, no, I would, if we were in a situation like that and one of us got away,
Mhm.
like if you came back without cavalry, I would fucking kill you afterwards. Like you could have brought like help. This is help. Like no offense, I'm bringing help. I might not even be
Right.
coming back. I'm like, just go there.
Right.
I'm staying here where it's safe with like coffee and hot cocoa. But yeah,
Oh my
so
God.
the kills in this movie are just so stupid and just so fun. Like he gets pulled over by a cop. The cop just like,
And the cop didn't steal any of his coins. He just killed him.
yeah, just put his, well, first, put his hand on his face and was ripping it apart. And yeah, so the whole thing you thought,
Out of
again, I
nowhere
mean,
for no reason.
but do you expect the story to kind of, go together in this kind of movie?
I don't know, but man, that was a long sequence of like him hunting that officer through like the brightest night in the woods,
Mhm.
just trying to kill him for literally no reason. It did not advance anything, and this is not a critique as if this is some sort of Criterion Edition version of Leprechaun, but there was absolutely no reason other than for Jennifer Aniston at the end to run into the cop car and find a dead guy and scream and shit.
Mhm.
And then him like pulling the guy's eyeball out and using it for his own.
Yes, because she took
Yeah.
the she took the baton and basically shoved it in
Yes.
his eye, and then
Yeah.
he took the eye out, put it in his own eye, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it worked. Again, I'm not a anatomy major, but I don't
No.
think that's possible.
He's a
But again, I'm
leprechaun.
not a leprechaun. Yeah, I mean it's magic.
He's
You
a
know what?
leprechaun.
Fuck it. That's all the explanation. But obviously, you can't have a cheesy leprechaun movie without bad Lucky Charms jokes. And
Oh
the
my
first
God,
one,
so
I mean,
great.
we'll talk about the last line in a second. But when he finds the box of Lucky Charms, and he sees the logo, and he's like, "Dad," like it's just like, "Dad," he's excited. Like, okay, he knows this guy. And then he just eats the cereal. It's like, oh, basically spits it out. But he clearly says, "Dad." I'm
Yeah.
like, wow,
Yeah.
I don't know. And then,
It's a lot
but
to
at
unpack there.
that's all movies want to unpack.
Leprechauns have children? Like, what the fuck?
They must. How? No, we're not going to get into
Oh God, no! This is gonna
breeding
spiral to a
habits.
turtles conversation.
Which we don't need.
No, we don't.
But yeah, so we find out throughout the movie that a four-leaf clover is a
Mm.
leprechaun's weakness, and
Yeah,
Alex,
apparently.
excuse me, not Andy, Alex, takes a piece of gum, wraps a four-leaf clover in it, slingshots it into the leprechaun's
Yeah.
mouth with the famous last words, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms," and then
Oh,
basically,
fantastic.
basically melts the leprechaun from the inside out. who
Yeah.
falls in a well, and then the leader, again, I already forget the guy's name, grabs
Mhm.
gasoline, dumps it everywhere, dumps it down the well, and then we just get
Yep.
a huge explosion, and then
Yeah.
that's it. They're just like, and then all the police show up. Finally,
Oh,
the
my
police.
favorite ending. My favorite horror movie, 80s movie ending where like everything's over, everything's done and the cops just show up. And there's like lights going off and you're like everything's going to be okay now. Like it's usually the morning after or the middle of the night. But that was a nice little cherry on top. And we got to see some fireworks at the end.
We did.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely a type of movie I feel. I don't know. There wasn't a lot of blood. It's technically R-rated, I guess, more for language because they do say fuck a few times. But
A couple of times, very noticeably, yeah. Like she's like, "That's no fucking bear," or whatever the fuck she says.
yeah, which was kind of cool to see Aniston do a little swearing, f
Yeah.
bombs.
Hmm.
But for the most part, the kills were not graphic. To me, this is the type of movie 8 to 10 year olds, when they're doing, Halloween night or something like that.
Hmm.
This is the movie they sneak to because it's not too bad. That's going to scare them, but give them enough spooks. But once you hit teenager, you got to understand this is just cheese at its finest, and
So bad, so
it's
bad, so
yeah,
bad, but so
just
cheesy.
you just can't help but laugh at it.
Hmm.
I don't know if I say I enjoyed it. I mean, I don't know. It was a watch. That's all I can
It
really
was
say.
whatever, It's like it has a beginning, it has a middle, then it ends, and there's some stupid shit that happens, a couple giggles and whatever. But like like a lot of the movies that we talk about, if it was on, I usually kept it on. But I'm stunned about how much I forgot. But yeah, again, it's a watch.
Thank you for listening. Let us know what you thought of Leprechaun, what you like about it, what you dislike. Is there any other horror movies? I mean, we got a few more coming out this month. We are doing a horror theme month because it's
Hmm.
Halloween. So until
My
next
favorite.
time, until next time, fuck you, Lucky Charms.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms.